Well, I've been a big supporter of a bipartisan farm bill for years now. Let me think about this. 2 years ago, the Senate passed a bipartisan farm bill. I voted against that one. I felt like, and both Senator Bozeman and I voted against it. We both felt like it wasn't good for Arkansas because of how it treated rice, and also because of catfish and a few other things. But we voted no on that. But it didn't get out of the Senate, and we felt like it was too Midwest oriented, not as Southern. And that's a kind of a dichotomy you can get into sometimes in the farm bill. But nonetheless, we voted no. It went to the House and died on the vine. So then we passed another farm bill last year, and it went over the House, and that's when my opponent, Congressman Cotton, advocated that you separate the nutrition part from the other farming part. Well, as everybody predicted, he blew it up, and it both failed. So then, just in recent months, the House sort of picked up the pieces and passed some pieces of it and sent it to conference, and that's what we ended up with. And this was a bipartisan farm bill. I supported this from the beginning, and there are a lot of changes in it. Basically, if you look at the farm bill, there's $23 billion in deficit reduction over 10 years. So it's about $2.3 billion a year. And a lot of those reforms are in the nutrition program, but they're all over the board. I mean, they're just in different programs, different things. To me, it's a good example of how if we work together in a bipartisan way, you can cut your spending, but you can do it smartly, and you can do it where it doesn't cause shockwaves in the economy. And the reason I think agriculture is so important, and I think Congressman Cotton and I just have a very sharp difference on this. I mean, I voted for it, he voted against it. I'm bipartisan. He hasn't proven to be that at all. But nonetheless, the reason I think that agriculture is so important, it's not because everybody lives on the farm anymore. I think when people hear the farm bill, they think, what's that have to do with me? Well, in our country, we've been spoiled. We have a very safe and affordable food supply. It's the best in the world. And it's a huge export for us. It's a big part of our economy. In fact, in Arkansas, 25% of our state's economy is either ag or ag-related. 25%. So think about taking that out of the equation. It would cause a depression in our state if all that went away. We love having Walmart, we love having yards, but we love all that. Fortune 500 companies are great, but the sort of backbone of our state's economy is gone. And this bill, what it does is it gives 5 years of stability, 5 years of predictability, so people can invest and grow and do all that. And it's a very important bill for rural America. In many communities, as you all know, a lot of your readers, the only industry they have is farming or some ag-related something, processing or a gin or, who knows what. And that's it. That's what they have. And so that's really true all over the country. There are many, many areas all over the country. That's pretty much all there is. So anyway, it's a very important piece of legislation, and I just don't think you play partisan or ideological games with it. So, like, the reason you take a company, we'll just take one, you'll have a presence here, Tyson Foods. Tyson is very, very efficient, and the way they raise the chickens and take them all the way to the grocery store, to the kitchen table, there's a lot of efficiency in that. And that's one reason why if you buy chicken today, I mean, I know sometimes you go to the store and say, look at my grocery basket, look at how expensive it is. But really, chicken is a good example of a protein that's relatively inexpensive. And I mean, as you know, the numbers, chicken continues to increase every year in terms of the amount that's eaten in the country and around the world because it is such a great source of protein. But if you start causing disruptions in the marketplace, disruption in corn, in soybeans, disruptions in the various things that they can use to get that. What happens is it causes prices to go up. You lose that efficiency. We had this happen a year plus ago when we had the fiscal cliff, government shutdown, all that going on, all those things have gone on. There's been so many of them, I can't keep track of all of them now. But when the food safety inspectors, you remember this, the food safety inspectors, they were going to be furloughed. They weren't going to be able to be there. So you go to this plant right here, this plant, as long as you didn't have a food safety inspector, they had to turn the lights out and wait till a guy could come back on shift. So anyway, we fixed that, how long ago that was, a year ago, 6 months ago, we fixed that. But that's just kind of an example of the ag economy is pretty efficient and seamless, and why would you disrupt that? And one last thing on that, I'll get off my soapbox about agriculture. People in Washington don't understand agriculture. It's not very exciting. It's not very sexy to them. They just don't think about it. They take it for granted. But you can look at the U.S. economy, and we do a lot of things well in this country. But no one does agriculture better than America. I mean, we are the gold standard. Everybody wants to be like this. Innovation happens here. Investment happens here. The research happens here. I mean, when we say we feed the world, I mean, it's literally true. We are the world, global, unquestioned leader when it comes to agriculture. Why would we want to jeopardize that? Why do we want to allow a Brazil or a China or a Russia or somebody to get that, crack in the door? And why do we want to jeopardize that? So anyway, I'm glad we passed it. I wish we'd done it a year ago. I'm glad we got it passed. I'm glad it's about points.